Welcome to today's deep dive. We're reviewing Cass Andromeda's novel, Thanksgiving at the Wrong Address. We've got the book itself and our own review notes here, and our mission today is to really unpack how this hilarious domestic mix-up turns into a profound exploration of community, diversity, and leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if our honest review of this whole social experiment piques your interest, you should definitely grab a copy of the book using the link in the comments section.
Right. Highly recommend doing that. So let's just jump right into the inciting incident because it's so funny. It's Thanksgiving in Millbrook, Ohio. 3 families, right? The Mitchells, the Kowalskis, and the Hendersons. They all collide because of an identical address, 427 Oakmont Drive.
Right. So 2 of those families are at the completely wrong house.
Exactly. But the homeowner, Margaret Henderson, is so paralyzed by this, classic Midwestern politeness that she simply invites these total strangers inside. She'd rather do that than risk the awkwardness of correcting them.
Which is just wild. I mean, Andromeda uses that absurdity brilliantly to show human psychology.
Yeah.
We're wired to avoid social friction, right? So we just rapidly normalize the abnormal. Margaret chooses a 4-hour fictional reality over, a 10-second confrontation.
It's so relatable, though. It's kind of like being trapped in an agonizing customer service phone loop.
Oh, yeah. The absolute worst.
You know the ones where the automated bot keeps misunderstanding you, but instead of just shouting representative, you politely answer its nonsense prompts because you feel obligated to follow the rules of the system.
Yeah, you're just playing along.
Right. Only here, the system involves 17-pound turkeys and green bean casseroles. Nobody wants to break the script because it just feels rude.
And that illusion only shatters when a 4-year-old Emma finally asks why strangers are eating in her house. Kids just say it. Which makes you wonder, is extreme politeness actually a massive failure of communication?
Yes, but that communication failure accidentally creates an incubator. Because they refuse to eject each other, they're basically forced to sit down, break bread, and form a genuine bond.
Yeah, and that accidental incubator quickly becomes incredibly crowded. Which brings up, my honest critique of the book.
Oh, let's hear it.
So the absolute best part is that Andromeda refuses to let it stay a fluffy sitcom. Over the next decade, that dinner swells from 13 people to an annual event of over 600.
600 people, that's huge.
Right, and she tackles the gritty, unromantic friction of scaling a community. Suddenly, you need city permits, liability insurance, a $20 suggested donation just to keep the lights on.
See, I really struggled with that transition while reading. Doesn't introducing mandatory donations and government bureaucracy completely kill the magic of that first organic accident?
It definitely feels like it, yeah.
It feels like turning a beautiful community into a corporation.
Well, it's incredibly easy to romanticize the free aspect of a grassroots movement. But Andromeda makes this compelling argument that scalable kindness demands infrastructure. You physically cannot safely feed hundreds of people on pure, unorganized goodwill.
Right, people would get food poisoning or something.
Exactly. The permits aren't destroying the community. They are the heavy, necessary cost of sustaining it.
Okay, I see the logistical need. But shifting from a family dinner to a ticketed event changes the power dynamic, doesn't it? The people holding the permits hold all the cards.
That is the exact tension that triggers the climax of the novel. A community member, Robert Hutchins, publicly points out that while the dinner has grown into this massive, diverse event, the leadership hasn't. The organizing board is still entirely white.
Because it's just the original founders running the show, right? The 3 Margarets from those first families.
Yes. And they are forced to confront the fact that their founder-led model is no longer appropriate for the community they serve. Andromeda spends a lot of time exploring why this is so deeply painful for them.
Because their entire identity is wrapped up in being the generous hosts.
Exactly. Giving up their seats at the head of the table feels like losing their family tradition.
Wow. But to actually serve the community, they have to actively dismantle their own monopoly on the event. They have to invite Robert and others into the core decision-making process.
Yeah, they have to shift to a genuinely diverse shared authority. It's a painful but necessary evolution. The book beautifully demonstrates that true community eventually belongs to everyone, not just the people who accidentally started it.
Right, that makes total sense.
The founder stepping back is presented as their ultimate act of leadership.
That is so powerful. The best things we create are the ones we eventually have to surrender. Which wraps up our review for this deep dive.
And just a final reminder, if you want to experience this journey yourself, grab your own copy of the book via the link in the comments section. It's a really great read.
Leaving you with this final thought. If true community requires letting go of control to let others lead, what project or tradition in your own life are you holding on to way too tightly right now?